Before we start file operation, I just want to make sure you all understand. Anyone who does project, they will have need to read data, or they may have need to write data. So these are very common need: read data or write data. Now think about, if you're a data analysis guy, you might be getting a lot of files, right? You get a bunch of files. Sometimes you want to combine bunch of files together and read about it. And when you read it, then you generate a report out of it. Maybe you can create a graph. Maybe you can create a chart. Maybe you can do tables. Maybe you do filter, searching, all kind of good things you want to do. And in order for you to do all those things, you do need to have a knowledge about file, where you can read data file, you can append data file, or you can write data. When they say append, means you keep adding content in the file. When I say write, when you write something, next time when you try to write, you overwrite the existing data and you start over. So write, always overwrite the existing data and start over. So write is risky sometimes because you're starting over. While append, keep adding, keep adding, keep adding, keep adding, keep adding. So you need to be careful. Do you want to write or you want to append? Sometimes you need to think about it. So example, if I asked you to accumulate everyday transaction, would you do write mode or would you do append mode? What do you guys think? Append mode. Why? Because append mode means everyday transaction. So if you go to ATM machine, in ATM machine, anyone who withdraw money, anyone who deposit money, that will be logged in a file. And that file keeps logging of each and every action performed at ATM. So to know if you want to go back, if you want to review it, you can review it. Append mode is very simple. Like A, lowercase a, it means the file will be created in append mode. In that case, you keep adding the content. Write mode, you just create file in the writing mode. Now, read mode, you create a file in the reading mode. Now, this is when you read the file. This is something when you write the file. And this is something you keep adding. So this will be your three choices. No other things you can use if you want to, but most of the time, if you are doing data analysis work or QA work, you normally use read file, or you write, or others maybe for image creation or songs or movies or PDF file, then you may want to use binary file, which is not needed for this class. As you go further, let's say first exercise will do this. So by default, there are many goodies available in Python. Python make life easy compared to Java or other language. So you first say, I want to open. I want to open. And then you give a path of the file, where the file is. Because Python need two slash, so it's one slash and two slash. It means you are saying C column like that. Then you are saying data, which is nothing but your folder. And then you are saying two slash. So basically you are saying C drive data. I want to write or read a file. So here I want to write, W stands for write. So I want to create a file called sample.txt. So what happens in C drive in your computer, under data folder, this file will be created. So you can give any name of your choice. So first thing, open. Open will create a file. If file is not exist, it will create it. If file is exist, it will open. Now when you open the file, then use file word, or you can use any variable here. This is called handler. This is called handler. Handler means it points to the file. Now using this handler, you can say, I want to write this, I want to write this, and then you close the file. So whenever you start file, the first step is always open the file. Then you define the mode, in which mode you want to open file, read mode, write mode, whatever. And then you write the content and you close the file. So first of all, the reason you close the file, so file, it returns from hard disk. If you don't close the file will remain in memory. And when file remains in memory, it is not going to be helpful. So it's very, very important that you close the file. Now, if you already have Python open, let's get started. We are going to copy this portion of this portion. We're going to copy this portion of it. So please copy this portion copy this portion. Now, when you copy this part, please understand design in a way that you can easily understand. This is the file name. You can change file name if you want to. You write the content and you close the file. So you copy this content. Please copy this content. Now, open your Python. So I'm going to open here. So IDLE. So when you open IDLE, just click on it. And when you open that, we will create today a brand new file because we are on a week 5. So I'm going to create a new file now. So when you start the IDLE, the reason we are using IDLE because it's a lighter version. Right now, the version I'm using is 3.1, but this exercise should work in all versions except 2 series. Any 3 series, this exercise should work. Now let's click on File menu, File, New File. So click on File, New File, File, New File. So if you click on File, New File, you paste it here. Now, please understand, in case if you have a problem, always try to see on the screen. The reason I try to keep the content ready, so you don't have to type too much. When you do homework, you can type and you can practice also. Open is the very important word. This is opening the file. So as long as the file path is correct, it will open in this mode. So if you say write, it will open in right. This file, you're having a handler. This handler can be any handler. Can I write something file 1, file 2, file 3? Yes. Whatever you write, you use here and then say write. When you write this line, it will be returned to the file. And /n means after that line, it will press enter. /n means enter. Then again you write second line. You press enter. You close the file. When you close the file, it means this content will be written on a disk. So if I go to my data folder, I can see this file. This exercise will only work if you have data folder. So before we run this program, let's check out, do we have data folder under C drive? So go to C drive, go to C drive, go to C drive, go to C drive and check do you have data folder? No, I have data folder. So on the C drive, I have data folder. And if I double click on it, I can see now I have a bunch of files. You don't need to have all those files in your machine, but you can see I have C drive data folder. Last week we created, if you remember that, we created PDF file. So we do have. Can I use other folder? Of course, you can use that folder. So whichever folder you like, you can use it. For time being, I like to use data folder. Now, I check my program. There is no error. So if I want to run this program, I just click on run and run module. Run module. When I do run module, it will ask me, do you want to save the file? Say yes, I want to save this thing. So here today is the week 5, so I'll start with the file. So we say file. Let's say start with the file, file1.py. File1.py. So we know this is the file program. So I'm giving the name file1.py. File1.py. And once I save it, program will run. You will not see content on the screen, but you will see a file called sample under data folder. And when you run it, in a few seconds, you will see that there is a file created under data folder. So if you notice that just now, a few minutes back, in my computer under data folder, I can see the file created. And timestamp is 6:52. Now, if you double click on that file, you will see 2 lines. Let me know if you are able to see that or give me thumbs up. So at least I know that you are able to do it well. Good. So far, so good. Very good. Now, if you are able to do it, let's write another line. So we want to see if it's something I can do it. So like example, I kind of type it because I want to learn something. So I'll say file dot write. And I'll say this is test file. This is test file. And I'll do /n. N means new line. N means new line. So I added another line. What will happen? Will it keep these 2 lines and add 3 lines? No. because the write mode will remove this content and then it will create a new file. So let me close this file first. Now I added this additional line. Please understand, Python is all lowercase. You write file because that's your handler. You do write because you want to write something. Anything you write in double quotation and /n will be pressing enter. So now when you run it, it will still create a new file under data folder. And now if you go back, data folder now, you will see 3 lines. Easy. Question, concerns. Any questions so far? Everyone is doing good? So far, so good? Give me thumbs up and making sure make a noise service. I know that you are following flow. Perfect. Perfect. Now I'm going to change here. Instead of W, I'm going to do A. And if I change W to A, what will happen? Let's see here. So if I to change W to A, which will be append mode. W to A means append mode. So now what will happen? I'm going to close this file. And if I run again, now it will preserve the last file's content and it will add new. So now it will have 6 lines because I did append. So now run your program. When you run it, you will see now you will have 6 lines. Again, you will not see anything on the screen because you are writing only. But if you double click on the file, you will see 6 lines. And the reason you are seeing that because we are now doing append. I hope you are understanding. Write mode always remove the content, write mode remove the content and write. Remove the content and write. While append mode, keep the content. Append mode, keep the content. And that's the one thing I want you to understand because this is very important. Clear? Now let's have a read this file. What are my choices? We understood write mode, we understood read mode. So how do I read it? Right? So reading file is not that complex. So if I go back to my forum, let me put it again in the chat room in case if you are not in forum, you must be in forum because we have a lot more exercise to cover and those are very easy if you are in forum. We are in week 5. So if you read this thing, we are also opening the file. This one we are opening, but this time I can do double quotation R, which will be read mode. And when I read that, I'm giving handler to file. Now I'm looping here. Please pay attention. I'm looping here file, line in file. It means here the file has a line. So line right now file has 6 lines. So first line will go to the variable line, print it. The second line will go. The third line will go. The fourth line will go. The fifth line will go. As you go, the last line complete, then it will add. And then we close the file. So whenever you want to read the file, you do the same thing as the write mode, but instead of W, you're going to say R, and you give a handler. Now this handler has everything. So you have to read line by line because the file has more content. So that's why you are using loop. The reason you use loop because the file may have a lot of lines. So this loop will loop till the file has a line. Once you read the line, it will give one by one, you paint it one by one. So right now, let's copy this section. Copy this section. Now go back to our program and paste this section just beneath here. Now you may say, can I change this file? Can I change this thing sample 1? Can I make sample 1? I can, but the file doesn't exist. So I will get an error, file not found. Do you guys agree? I can only read the file which I have created. So I can read the existing file. So can I write here R? You can. That's called read mode, right? You can write the read. Do I have to write? No, because it will by default go to read mode because it's the existing file. So I'm writing read mode. File is here. Can I write file 1? Yes, I can. Whenever I have file, I need to do file 1. Okay. So now if I run my program, will I get a 6 lines or will I get a 9 line on screen?
6 lines.
9.
It will be 9.
I will be 9 because 3 lines will be added again.
Okay. You're running. Okay, you're running the top portion as well. Okay, yeah,
exactly.
It's 9.
Right?
Yeah, of course.
So let's check it out. So now We'll say online line. Make sense? Or not?
Yes.
So the reason the read is very powerful because your data might come, and I'll show you how to make the program better. Because if you're going for data analysis, you better learn how to read the file, because your data will come in multiple files. So the project code, I say project code, there is a first project. In that project, I gave you bank data. In the bank, they give you transactions. So every transaction you make, bank accumulate the transaction as a daily file or hourly file. And at the end, they accumulate. And then they ask analysts, do the analysis. Like who deposit maximum, or who withdraw maximum, who is depositing frequently, who is withdrawing frequently, right? All those things like they call fraud detection. So there are analysis happen. And in order for you to do analysis, you need to read file. So the first project which some of you might be doing, that's all about file. So if you know how to read file, of course you have to do a little bit advanced. It's not that easy. I have some sample code also. Every project I have some sample code which will help you. I would say kickstart, which will help you to kickstart, but then you have to add more code as you go. Any question in this exercise? So far, so good. So now let's make it interesting, because this is not that good. I like to make some interesting. So right now, this is a static content. You guys agree? Static content means it will write exactly the same thing. But what if I want to write dynamic content? What if we ask user, what's your name? What's your grade? And user enters, and that information we enter into file, and then later on we print that information. That would be cool. Yes or no? Right? It's a little bit interaction, right? Example, if I go to bank, like what's your account number? What's your PIN number? How much money you're going to withdraw? Okay, this is your receipt, or this is your transaction statement. That would be kind of nice. How do I do that? So in order for us to do that, we can use our prior knowledge, which is called input. We can ask user, hey, enter your name, and when user enter, we can, instead of writing this way, we can write variables and all. So let's create another program, and I have some sample example where we will take that and then we'll enhance that further. So now, if you scroll down in our forum, this is interactive program. So let's understand first before we exercise. So in this exercise, first I'm saying, hey, I want to open the file. If I open this file, do you know where this file will be created? Will it create in data folder or somewhere else?
Whatever folder that the
Be on a C drive.
It will create somewhere
In the root.
where Python is installed. Where the Python is installed, it will create under bin directory. Good thing or bad thing? Very bad thing. So we will give a path. So normally we give a path like this type of path. I want you to understand we always use 2/. Make sense? So this is called C drive, this is called folder, and this is the slash. So we'll change that. Now we are asking enter your first name, and that we are storing in a variable. Then we are asking enter your last name, we are storing in a variable. Enter your email, we are storing in a variable. Now, this exercise looks simple, but in a real life, you might be using such kind of thing like touchscreen when you go to like boarding pass, right? When you go to airport, they say enter your reservation number or confirmation number, yes or no, and then you enter. Then they ask what's your first name, last name, your credit card name, or whatever. Basically, different way you are inputting. Whatever you do, you are now having a variable which is storing those values. Now these variables I'm writing to the file. So if I write those variables in a file, now the file will have all the details which I wrote. Once I write it, I close the file. And then I read the same concept. Reading is similar. So we can say read the file in a read mode, and then we loop again. We print it. Make sense? So now let's highlight this program from here to here. Make sure you copy, select this thing properly. Make sure you highlight up to this. See on the screen, create file from here to here, which I think it's easy to understand. Control C. Now create a new file. So we don't want to disturb the first file. So we'll just say file. So when you ask about, hey, how do I get the old file? There is a concept called recent file. So if you go to recent file, on this file, you can see that. So this is the way I will go for. So any file you have created will be visible. And you can pick that file and you can open if you want to. But in my case, I'm going to create a new file. But if I want to go to existing file, I go to recent file and I can check all the files. So now let's do file, new file. So the brand new file. I'm going to paste my
Thank
program.
you.
No problem. I'm going to paste my program. Colorful it is, right? So first thing I want to change the path. Please change the path, this path and this path. Let's try to type something properly because you need to know how to write the path. So C column, make sure you type it C column, backward slash, data, backward slash. Again, very simple. And I'm going to copy these paths and I'm going to paste it here. Please understand, goal of the exercise is that you understand more than you type. So it's very important that you understand the concept. So now you're doing this exercise, please understand how the program is working. So we are opening a file, data, which is in a write mode. Now when we open the file, we are asking user to enter 3 different values. When user enters 3 values, we are taking one by one and we are storing those in and then closing the file. So when I close the file, the data file should have 3 input, first, last, and finish. Please understand. Can I write something else? Absolutely. But this way I can write variable. Can I write something called name equals to, can I write like that, name equals to plus first name? Yes, you can do that. So your choice to write the way you want. Okay. Once you write it, this is very simple. You read this file. Once you read your handler, you see I'm not using file anymore. I'm using here F. And then I'm saying 4 line. You read the file handler and you read one by one. I'm using stripe here. Does anyone know what is strip means? What it does?
Takes out the white space.
It remove new line. So sometimes what happens in Python when you write, sometimes press enter. So you remove this enter part. So there won't be space. If you notice the last program, when you wrote it, when you ran the program, you did notice that so much space. The space can be eliminated if you do this one. So every exercise, I add little bit goodies on that. So make you understand this takes days sometimes to figure it out how to remove that. If you just follow my forum, I can tell you, you will be able to do 80 to 90% of work in your project and 80 to 90% work on your real life as well. Because majority things, it's there. There will be some special thing is there which you may need to do Googling, but 80% is quite a good content available. And I'm going to keep adding that. We still have a long run to go. Goal of the exercise is single point where you can find all information. So you don't have to look around, but be comfortable what you are doing. Because at the end of the day, your program you're reading just like reading a book. So open a file, you're asking user to enter 3 inputs, you're writing to a file, closing the file, then you're reading the file, you're looping the file and printing one by one. So let's run the program and see how it works. So when I run the program, I'm going to give this time file 2. Make sure you save as a file 2 and always a little bit faster. So you can see the program, you can run it, you can see the action. So file 2.py. So we are storing as a file 2.py. Remember, file 2 means I don't want to overwrite the previous file. So when I save it, it's going to run and it will ask what's your name. So let's say I run my program. It is asking me what's your first name. Of course, I'm going to give my first name here. So let's say I give my first name Tom, last name Patel, and let's say email. So I'll say tom@itexps.com. I press enter and you can see it write and it prints also. So you can see it does both things. It writes and prints. So this printing came from this code because this code is printing and you see there is no space anymore because this type does the magic. But because we have written this thing to the file called data, if I go to data folder, I should see data.txt. You guys agree? So let's check it out. And here you go. I'm going here and there should be data.txt and I can see that it has 3 files. Bingo, it did work. Any questions so far in this code? How it works? Anything confusing? Anything is not clear?
So, Tushar, if we forget to put the close, it's obviously is gonna issue an error, right?
It's not going to give you error, but it is kind of called unhandled file closing. It means file may get corrupt or data may not be written properly. So sometimes you may see I wrote it, but it's not there because close is the signal you're giving to memory, go and write to the disk. So if you're not doing that, sometimes your content will not be written, and sometimes it may be corrupted, means you cannot open the file again because the content is corrupted. So there is always a formula: open, then read or write, and close. Open, read and write, and close. Okay? Any other questions? Everyone is doing good so far. Remember, every line should make sense to you. Am I right here? Opening file, inputs, right? Then you are writing this content, then you are closing the file. Then you are reading the content. Now, if you ask me in real life, I don't write it. I use the same boilerplate code because I know this is the boilerplate code. Only same thing I change is my path or my file name, and this might change. So if I really understood, let's say I want to add another variable, let's say phone number. So why don't you all write phone number and read the phone number? Don't see what I do. You do it yourself because you understood. You can do whatever you want. You can type, you can copy paste, whatever it is. Right. Yeah, write a phone number in this same file. So I'm gonna do the same. You guys can do yourself. Try not to see because you have enough example to figure it out how to ask user a phone number. And when the user enters the phone number, you have enough example how to write phone number to the file. And then run your program and see if you are able to write, save, and read. And check it out. Give me thumbs up if you are able to do so. Right? You have enough example to figure it out that one, right? So, Tom, Carol, itexps.com, and phone number 847-350-903. Perfect. I can see everything. Any questions so far? Everyone is doing good so far?
Yeah, I'm working through the program now to see if it worked.
Mhm.
Looks like it worked.
Awesome, awesome. See, the way I have designed this lab, so it slowly build your muscle. Trust me. Python itself is not hard, but there are two types of coding people do. One people do like very high-end programming, which sometimes pretty hard to read. I try to do simple programming because the reason my goal is to make it work and then optimize it. So first thing, always try to make it work. Don't try to make it complex. Because anytime you make it work smooth, like easily or simple form, you will have a better option to make this program better. But if you try to like cut and paste and make it program very complicated, then you will not know each and every line. It means you're stuck. And program without understanding is going to be harder to maintain. So it's very important that you stand line by line. Good. So at this moment, I can assume you are able to read, write, append, you have knowledge about how to get the input, new input, you have knowledge about how to write that. You don't have to change a single line here because this is generic. We call boilerplate code. Boilerplate means you're gonna read the file and you're gonna print it. Good. Makes sense? Now, just want to see here, what if I write data 5 here? If the file doesn't exist, what would be the reaction? Will Python will throw error? So let's run the program. And when I run program, I have written data file, though I know I don't have data file. So let's see what it will try to create the file. So there is no problem, right? It's no problem. So I don't want to write enter the value. I can enter any value A, B, C, D, no problem. So when I give 5, it creates the file, no problem. But what about if I give 6 here? The file is not there. Will it give me error? Let's check it out. So if I run the program, and now I'm entering, let's say A, B, C, and D, and boom, it errored out. Why error? Same thing when I try a 5 for write mode, it did not give me error. But read mode, it is giving me error. This is called exception. And the exception is special exception, file not found error. No such file or directory exists. So what do you think? Why am I getting error during read mode? Though same thing I tried on write mode, it did not create the file error. Why? What could be the difference here?
The difference is when you write
Mhm.
file, it's created, but when you read it, it tries to find the file name data6, but you don't have it.
Correct,
There is nothing to open.
correct. So here the intention is, if it is not there, create it. Yes or no? If it is not there, create it. Here intention is, it must be there, so read it. So if it is not there, let's cry. Let's cry. But if I do here data 2, if I do data 2, what will I get an error? Because directory, I'm trying to look for directory. Will directory doesn't exist, should I get an error? Let's check it out. So if I run program, boom, it error, no error yet, right? So it means maybe I have data 2. Maybe my machine might have that data 2. See, I have data 2. So, so let me come out and let's say 9 or maybe 88. There is no data 88, that's for sure. So if I run my program, now check it out, it errored out. Make sense? So if during write mode, if file is not there, not a problem. But if directory is not there or path is not there, it blows up. Make sense? But when it blows up, you do notice that it stops here itself. It doesn't allow you to continue further. So this is called exception, which is our second topic. Exception. Do you see the exception? Red color, these are exceptions. So what you see here, it's exception, file not found, directory not found. There are many exceptions you can have. Python has a bunch of exceptions. Now you may say, what is exception? So exception is kind of error scenario. It happens. So example, I go to Amazon and I try to buy something. I use invalid credit card number. Will it go through? No. It says invalid credit card. Or if I go to Bank of America and if I try to enter invalid PIN, it will say invalid PIN. Or I try to log into any site without proper username and password, it will say login failure. So exceptions are two types of exception. One, system exception, and one is the business exception. System exception means this is a system exception. File or directory does not exist, right? This is system exception. But invalid credit card, is that a system exception or is a business exception?
So
Business.
business exception.
If I go to a login page and I try incorrect username and password, is login failure. Is it a business exception or system exception?
System.
Business.
Oh,
Business. So what is system? System means anything hardware or physical or system or software system related. So example, network is down. Will I get a business exception or system exception?
System.
If database is down, system exception or business exception? System. Example, if I have like some kind of programmatical issue, the program like Python issue or system, anything system level, like example programming aspect or anything is a directory aspect, database aspect, internet aspect, hard disk aspect, permission aspect, system. So what is business exception? Business exceptions is coming through business. Business say that if you are providing incorrect username, you should show this error message. If you try to do something, like example in CBAP code, if you enter some other code, then it's a business exception. Because business is telling you. If system is telling you, then it's a system exception. Right now, these are system is telling you. So that's our system exception. So I'm going to show you both ways. How to do this part, right? Sometimes, it's a good idea to use what you call system exceptions, and sometimes you use business exceptions. Now, most Python is not that rich as Java, so Python normally use system exception, but there is a thing. System exceptions are uniform. It's always same. Business exception vary business to business. So example, if you enter login invalid in Bank of America versus you enter login invalid in JP Morgan, they might have different naming convention. But system exception, file not found, directory not found, no matter where you go in the world, Australia, China, or Japan, they all will have same exception because it's coming from Python. System exception come from Python. Business exception come from business. So business to business exception may vary. Sounds good? So how this exception works? So first we need to understand a little bit dive. We need to understand the concept. Now this concept is pretty simple, but powerful, but in my knowledge, majority people don't know. And that's why they do programming that creates a lot of challenge. So first thing, anytime when you write a program, this is a piece of code. This is your program. Now, if you doubt that this program may create some issue, it can be system exception or it can be business exception. It may create something. In that case, you start with a try. You start with try and do column. So it means this is your code. You always put in a try. When you have doubt that this is going to throw some exception. Some exception means error. It will throw some error. Do I have to do? No. Should I do it? So yes. It's a best practice. So example, when I'm driving car, do I have to seat belt? No. Should I do it? Yes. So best practice. Always you have seat belt. I don't even know how to drive car without seat belt now. So many times I did in my life that even I'm sitting, I always look for the seat belt because it's a practice, right? Same thing. Good programmer always follow good practice. So they know that anytime you do file related activity. Please understand, anytime you do file related activity, anytime you do list related activity, anytime you do network related activity, anytime you do something database related activity, anytime you are doing some complex mathematical activity, anytime you're asking user to do input, it's always good idea to have try because user is very awkward. User sometimes, like example, if I ask you enter your birthday, you enter 1, 2, 3. So user may make mistake. Database make mistakes. In database, if I ask something, database say no data found, or you have connectivity issue, network, internet issue, or list. You might have 2 items, but you are asking 3rd item, 4th item, 5th item, 6th item. There is no item in that case, you will have an error index out of bound. File, directory is not there, file is not there, permission is not there, hard disk is full, or the file has a certain type of issue. So you may have n numbers of issue, but you need to find out where your maximum problem and try to put that in a try. So when you do try, then you write your own code. Then you write except. So except means lowercase, sorry for that, lowercase except. Except means if there is a problem. Please understand, if there is a problem. Please see on the screen, you will understand in a few minutes. If there is a problem, then it will come here. If you write except, and you can write a beautiful message to customer, you can tell what happened. Because whatever happened, if you write except, it will come to you, and you have opportunity to write the message, and your program will still continue. The program does not stop. But let's assume for a second, you did not write try, neither you write except. In that case, whenever a program error out, it just stops here. See here, it stops here. So if you do not write try and except, the program abruptly stop in the middle. But if you write try except, first you will have appropriate message, and the program will smoothly continue. So in my understanding, writing try except is always a good practice. If you're not writing, let's start writing. So how does it work? We're going to do practical example. Now, many people are more cautious. So what they do, they try to use third word. So they say first is you do try, and then write your code. Then you do except, and then they do finally. They do finally. Finally means last. You have to run this code. So finally, you need to run this code. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So you may say, I'm confused. Right? There is no, naturally, the question will be, I'm confused. So let's get started again. So first you say try, and then you do call, and write whatever you want. If there is a problem, listen carefully. If there is a problem, then you will go to except. But what if there is no problem? In that case, you will not go to except. So except will only run if there is a problem. Make sense or not? If there is a problem, then except will run. Then there is a finally. Finally, always runs, even though there is exceptions or not. So in a happy scenario, please understand, happy scenario, when I run my program runs, there is no error, and you straight go to find and run it. But in an unhappy scenario, I was running my program and I got an error. When I got an error from here, I'll straight go to exception, I'll continue the exception, and then I'll go to finally and continue the final. So during happy scenario, exception, you don't go. But unhappy scenario, you go to exceptions, run the exception, and then go to final. This way, it will allow you to change the custom message. You can make the message much more readable, much more easier, and your program continue. If you do not use try catch, your program will abruptly stop. Questions so far? Question on from so far? Have you understood? Or you have questions? If you have questions, please do ask. Okay, so now let's go back to our forum. I have some picture also. We'll come back to this exercise in a few minutes. Okay, so this is your homework, by the way. This is a homework similar. This homework is depend on this one, so we'll come in a few minutes. You will see that. But right now, I'm covering this. Now try, accept, and find. What is try? What is catch? What is finally explain? So try, run the code. If there is a problem, go to else exception and find. Now please understand. In this exercise, I created my tiny program. So first of all, understand. I created a student list, which is the empty list. Whenever you see rectangle, this, please don't cry. This is a list. And this is called empty list. If you are learning Python, make friend of the list, because you will use, if you are in data analysis, this is your best friend. This is your best friend because you can create a vector. You can create a vector and then you will use pandas or numpy. These are the best library you use if you are in data analysis work, panda or numpy. And numpy and panda always like list. So if you do not know list, you cannot work in data analysis, period. So make sure you understand list very well, because list is the vector. Everything in the Python data analysis work will happen through list. So be comfortable. Again, it's very simple. So your empty list. Now here in empty list, you are saying, you know what, I want to add Tom and I want to add Mike. So what you are saying here, I have a list, and in that list, I'm going to add first Tom and I'm going to add Mike. Tom will be at 0 index and Mike will be on first index. So total, I have 2 students. So for so list is just like it's kind of building. You're adding one by one flow. So it's a list is like a apartment complex. You're adding value in that. So right now, how many value I added? 2 values. The first value go to 0 index, and the second value will go to first index. So total, I have added 2 items. Now I'm saying try. I have a column. Print student 0. It will print Tom. So this will print Tom. And I said print student 1, it will print Mike. But if I say student 2, it will cause error because there is no student, because we have 0 index, we have 1 index, but there is no second index. It means error. So as soon as you error, it will go here. Error occur. It will go here. And then if I write something here, it will continue. So program does not stop. So why don't you all copy this thing? Copy this, Control C, and let's create a new file. Make sure you follow me, create a new file. Again, brand new file. So we'll paste it here. And for time being, after the last line, press enter and go all the way left side, all the way left side. I hope I understand. All the way. And here write print all the way and say end program end. Just to give idea. Make sure it is at the end of the. So here, this is your alignment. You started with alignment. So this is your beginning. So print. Please understand, this is a list, empty list, and in empty list you added 2 items. After you added 2 items, you are doing try, and you're trying to print. This will blow up. When it blow up, it will go here. It will print this. After it will continue. So your program does not stop. It continues smooth. So try catch gives you that beautiful part Okay, and then I'll remove try catch and I'll show you what is the difference here also. Okay. Now, please understand try, then you're doing it, then accept, then you're doing it, and then you're printing. So let's run the program. It's going to ask me to save this program. So here I'm going to give name, that's it, exception. So it's accept exception one, exception one.py. You can give any name. So I'm going to give name exception one.py, exception one.py. Right. Now save it and run it. Boom, it will run it. And you can see how nice, there is no red color. Did you notice that? There is no red color. The reason there is no red color, even though there is an error. So it printed top, printed my. It did not print anything here, but it straight went here. Error occurred, and then this is good. This is the beautiful part about try catch. There is a significant error happened. The program did not stop here. Program continue that because you have tried, accept, that block allows you to continue further. Then you print it. So this is the beautiful part. But what if, listen carefully, what if you don't have try catch? In that situation, let's say I experiment that. I copy here and I put outside of the try. Please understand, you can do if you want to. I put outside of the try. Can I? I can. Nothing wrong in that. But what will happen is abruptly stop because there is no try catch here. So program will stop here and you will not see it. You will see a lot of red color. Red means bad. Red means bad. And green means good. So run the program and see that. Boom. It will red. Did you notice that? It clearly says list index out of range. You don't have number 2. How can you ask that stopped? It doesn't even run program. It doesn't give me smooth, graciously shut down the program. So that's the bad part about programming. When you don't handle properly, program stops literally there. So this is very bad practice. So always when you have doubt, always use try, accept, and this. And now run, program is smooth. Even though an error, it continues smoothly. It doesn't cry, it just gives you any questions. Any questions?
So what? Yeah, too short. Yeah, just a general question. So when you write a program, all the way at the end, you're gonna add the try all the way to the top of the program.
I would not do that. The reason, if I ask you, I have a car, right? And if I say I have a problem in a car, would it be easier for you to figure it out versus if I say I have an issue in an engine? Which one is better? I have an issue in a car or I have an issue in an engine?
Well, engine at least.
Yeah.
It's more specific.
Yeah, so this program, can I write try catch? Of course you can write try and catch somewhere here and do that. But then if there's any problem, you will not know where the problem is. So good idea is create a small try catch, small try catch, small try catch. So where the problem is, you will know the problem. Okay, problem is here. Oh, problem is here. It's easier to troubleshoot. So rather than writing big try clause, I would do opposite. Try to write small. So you know which specific method has a problem, which specific logic has a problem. Now, if you are lazy in the sense of, just putting what do you call simple exercise for POC, proof of concept, then yes, you can do try catch just like as a big block. But in a production, try to do smaller blocks because you want to quickly find out where the problem is. Make sense? So every method
Gotcha.
try catch. Yep. But good question. Any other questions? Good. So first of all, everyone understand how we are using this, how we are appending the list, and how we are getting the item. But you notice one thing. Accept, please understand. This accept, and it is just an error occurred, but it is not telling what error. Did you notice that? It is not telling. So we can be very specific. We can say here a little bit more detail. So that's my next exercise. We just need to change a little bit. So see here, what did I change here? I say E capital exception as E. And then that E, if I put, it will tell me the message, what specific error. Make sense? See on the screen so you can understand what I'm trying to do. In this exercise, accept. I just wrote except. So there's no input. But in this exercise, I wrote except as E. So excepts as E. So now I can print E. So please copy these two lines. Copy these two lines. Make sure you copy properly. Copy these two lines. Go back to your program. And wherever you accept, you remove that accept and replace with these two lines. So you highlight these two lines. Control V. Control V means paste it. I highlight, so it will delete and paste it. So you can see now I change. So what are we saying? We are saying same logic. If there's a problem, go here. But this time it will give me exception as an E. It means I can print that what happened. If my car has an engine light on, this is very bad. I don't like some cars, right? A car has an engine light on, but I don't know what is engine light on. So I need to go to car mechanic and they charge $145 just to tell me the code. Oh, your OCI cylinder is not working, or OCI sensor is not working, or this is not working. Those people, mechanic has that special device to figure it out the code. Why can't they tell me? Or they put in a manual, right? This means this, this means this. So now we are giving much more data. Don't tell me that I have error. Be specific. So if there is a problem, go to the here, which is the exception. It will handle it. And it will give you the nickname, ASE, which is the nickname. So now this has an error detail, and we are printing that error detail after a comma. So now run the program and see what happens. See the result. And you'll see, wow, it gives me a little bit more clue. Last time, it was just saying error occurred. Now this time, the next index out of range. So it tells me something that your list has maybe less than 2 items, Tom and Mike. So you have 0 index and you have 1 index. You are doing something either above or below, and you have error. So that type of things quickly you can identify. So having an exception E gives you crystal clear understanding. Try it and play it around. Please understand, I like this way. I do not like the other way, because other way doesn't give me clue. It just tells there's a problem. Tell me more detail. Why there is a problem. Make sense? This is my favorite. This is my favorite, and I always use this way. Okay? Any question, concern, stop. Everyone is doing good. You become a good programmer by doing this thing. Yes. Any question?
This list index out of range will give only for error, not for correct one.
No, correct one it won't tell. Right? Because you won't go to exception mode, right? If there is no error, you will go here and then jump to spreadsheet. If there is no error, happy, happy, joy, joy, right? In that case, you will not go to exception. Right? Good?
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's do one more. So we did that. Now, I have another example. This example, I'm creating a method. So let's understand first, so you will understand. I am creating a method called def. Def stands for definition, and this is my method name. This is my method name, and I'm expecting to input. Please see on the screen. It will help you a lot. So def stands for definition, divide the method name. I'm passing to X and Y. And whatever I pass, I'm saying, hey, try. And first I'm catching 0 divide error. If that's the case, I'll put this message. Except I'll put this message. Else I put this message. And final. So how do we read this? This is pretty different. So I have a trick here. Always remember, you need to read the program carefully. So first of all, this is the name of the method. And these are 2 inputs. So here I'm passing 4 and 2. So X will get 4 and Y will get 2. So 4 divided by 2. 4 divided by 2 will be 2. So result get 2. When result get 2, is that error? No. Is that error? No. So it will go straight to else and say your answer, and it will print the answer. Okay, that's a 2. And then it will print here. So happy scenario, I will do try and then go to else. And then I'll go to final. This is happy path. This is happy path. But if there is a pass 4 and 0, so if I say 4 divided by 0, What is the value? 4 divided by 0?
Error.
You will not be able to calculate. So it's error. So it's a 0 divided by error. So you will see this message. After that, you will not see else. You will straight go to final. So now interview question. How many exceptions I have? 2, 1 and 2. But at single point of time, only one execute. So even though you have multiple except, only one will execute. And then you always do, after that, you always go to final. And finally will always be executed. Finally, always will be executed. Make sense? So now, say copy this thing and let's start so you can understand. Remember, every minute things you need to understand so you enjoy the programming aspect. So first, let's create a new file. So I'll say new file and paste it. Now, as I mentioned before, this is a method name x and y. If somebody divide x and y by 0, then of course it will go to this exception, it will print. But if it's happy part, 4 and 2, it will try, it will go to else part, then it will go to finally part. And it will. So let's do it, run it, check it, and then we'll decide it. Okay. Now I'm going to run this program. So if I run my program, remember when you run the program, you can learn a lot. So when you run your program, here I'll say exception 2.py. 2.py. And you can see that first time it went successfully. Let's trace the program. So we're tracing the program. So first time when I give 4 and 2, when I give 4 and 2, what happened? 4 and 2, result was 2. So it went to else block and say else your answer is result. So your answer is 2, which is correct. And then it said finally code executed. Perfect. But when I said 4, 0, boom, it marked. So it went to accept. Please change y value. And then straight went to fine. Perfect. I understood. It means else only runs when there is a positive sign. And if it is negative side, one of the except will run. If this doesn't work, this is going to work. And then finally. But no matter it's happy or negative part, finally always runs. Finally always runs. Any questions so far?
What would you input to make it say something went wrong?
It is already, right? I did 0. When you ran it, it went to 0, right? Please change. It went to accept. If it is successful, then it is like this, 4 divided by 2. So 4 divided by 2, no problem. But 4 divided by 0, it will go here. It will print this line, which is printing, right?
Yes.
Sure. So that's why I did put 2 scenario. I wanted to prove you that for happy scenario, what happened? Happy scenario, what happens, right? This one always runs, happy or unhappy. This one run only when there is happy. This runs, one of this will run when there is an unhappy scenario. So in second time, I got accept, unhappy scenario. Very good. Any other questions? Good. See, what you are learning right now is very, very important foundational structure. Many of you know programming, but many of you may not know how to handle the exception properly. So it's very important. So these exceptions are system exceptions, and there are a bunch of them. I don't want you to memorize it. I just want you to see that sometimes you may need that type of thing. But the program, this is maximum you need to know because you will be writing code here. And there is a chance that if the error that will be caught. Can I write something like this multiple times? Yes, but each time different exception. Can I write else? Yeah, only one time. How many times finally? Only one time. So if try something wrong, it goes to one of the exception, and then it will go to final. But finally will be always one time. Else is also always one time. The except, there are a bunch of excepts because, example, my transaction does not go through. It can be invalid credit card. It may be invalid zip code number. It can be invalid CVV code. It can be invalid date. So there are many reasons credit card transaction doesn't go. So these are all invalid date, invalid credit card number, invalid CBV code, invalid zip code. So there are different way you can capture. You don't want to just say invalid credit card. You need to be very precise. What is invalid? So user will know, and right away user will make the necessary changes. Right? So sometimes people may ask you what type of exceptions I have. So I had a list here. These are a bunch of system exceptions. Out of that, some of did today, some of index error, we saw that. Sometimes memory error, value error. These are all system. We also did this today. So there are some exceptions we did, but you don't have to worry about all. If you don't know any of them, you can just use word except, spelling except, which we did in previous exercise. That way, it will capture all of them. This is like a child, and this is the parent. It means if you capture except, it will capture everything. These are specific exceptions. So if you want to handle specific exception, you can handle as well. But if you don't want to handle, you can just say except, and you need to go. Good. Any other questions? Good so far?
Python don't recognize infinity?
What is that?
Infinity. I mean, 4 by 0 is infinity, right?
Yeah, that's called
Infinite.
zero error. This is that error is this one. Actually, this exception, right? If you do 4 divided by 0, exception. 0 divided by error, right? This is the exception. Now I'll show you how to create a custom exception. Okay. So this is the custom exception. Like sometimes you check the condition. Please understand. You check the condition and you say raise exception. Boom. This is something you write, whatever you want. You raise exception with particular condition. So example, if you want to do something like if someone try number 3 and you say no, that's invalid number, and you want to throw some exceptions, like example, somebody put like a, what do you call birth rate, sorry, age, my mistake. Age, let's say age is less than 16. You say invalid age means you cannot really register unless you are 18 years old. So if you want some conditional based exceptions, these are programmer rights. Can I do that? Yes. Let's say in this example, I want to write the exception, my own exception. So let's say I say, one result, please pay attention. I'm just making up, just giving the example. So I'm saying if, please pay attention, if the result equals to 0, 0, equals to 0, 2 equals. How many equals? Equals, equals. If result equals, 0, then I want to raise exception. So raise exception. And then I can say 0 value provided. Something like that, right? Whatever I want. You can say invalid credit card, something like that. So what we are trying to learn, please pay attention. So far, we saw if system detect the issue. But here, we as a programmer, we think somebody give me 0 X, right? Then I will throw exception. So what will happen? Will it go here? No, it will go here because this guy will capture it. So now see what happens. But how do I get 0 here? So I will call, let's say just an example. I'll call here 0 and 5. 0 and 5. So do you guys agree? 0 divided by 5 will be 0. Right? 0 divided by 5 will be 0. So let's see what happens when we run the program. So let's run the program. This time, what happened? So now you can see something went wrong. It didn't. So what happened when I pass 0? This 0 divided by 5 will become 0. So now this condition becomes true. Equals 2 times. So raise exception, 0 value divided, 0 exception, 0 value provided. So it went here. Boom. Make sense? So this is the way your credit card exceptions are being thrown. If credit card number is not a 15 or 16 digit, then invalid credit card number. If your expiry date is the past date, then invalid expiry date. So you can write your own exceptions here. Yes.
So you raised that custom exception, but it only printed the except right there.
Yeah, because I did not capture this message. Do you want me to capture? I can. Very simple. I just need to write except exception as E. Remember we talk about, and then we can say colon here, and say comma E.
So that'll be the
Now check it out. Now check it out. It will capture that message. Woo. You got it?
Yeah.
So this way you can capture. So anytime you want to capture your message, you can. So this message, if you want to capture, you write this the except E, and this E will get the message and you print that message after that.
Can you return exceptions?
Return in the sense of?
Can you, like, so an exception is thrown there, but it's, in this scenario, we're just printing it.
The
But
program doesn't go back. It will go forward. So you
Right.
cannot go back. You cannot go back. So
but instead of printing, can I say accept exception as E, return some string
you can.
with E?
Yeah,
Okay,
you can. That you can do. In that case, but this is like, yeah, if you want to return, you can do that. But here, this is the procedure. So I did not do that. But yeah, you can do that part perfect. Here, you whatever logic you want to write, you can write it. So if you want to write specific logic here, you can do it. So let's again, if result is 0, I want to write my own exception. I can write whatever I want here. This is exception, but this exception is not matching this one. So it didn't go here, but it matched here. So it went here. If I don't write anything, all exception will go here. And then it writes this message, and I'm catching as an E, so I'm printing E. Now if I run my program, beautiful. It just doing it. Let me know if you have questions or ask any questions you have. Good.
Hey, Tushar, I'm sorry.
Yep.
And that else section, I just noticed that it says print F, and then else your answer is blah blah blah. What does that F stands for?
Very good. It says that anytime you have curly bracket, find that value and replace that. It's called format.
Okay.
So it says wherever the curly bracket is, not being curly bracket, print the value of the variable. Ooh, very nice. So you might notice that. Carefully notice that you got your 2.0. Did you notice that? That 2.0 is coming from this result. So the 2.0 you got, that is coming from this result. This format says that wherever the result is, take that value and substitute it. Remove this, put it value. So result has 2.0. So you got a beautiful 2.0. It's kind of very easy way you can format nicely. I use often before.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? So life is good. See, two topics we completed very smoothly and easily, right? One more exercise we'll do this part because we have you go up a little bit. Remember, I said we'll do a little bit later, so we'll go up a little bit. This one because I need to cover this exercise for 5 because that's your homework is dependent on that. Please understand your homework is dependent on this exercise. So I want to cover and then we'll talk about project. Please understand. Anytime when I do exercise, I like to understand first. I spend more time to understand. That's why it becomes easier for me. Many of us, when we try to do program, if you do not understand, it's going to take a long time. When somebody said that I spent 10 minutes, I could not do it. It's possible they did not understand. Normally, programming is so easy that when you understand, it may take less time. Of course, writing program takes time. Don't take me wrong. But when you have program in front of you, the first thing you need to do is understand. So in this program, what we are trying to do. So we are saying import CSV. CSV stands for comma, separated values. So example 1, comma, Tom, comma. That's it. Tom at itexps.com, comma. I say a phone number. So when you separate the value by comma, it's a CSV. So here we are creating a list. L underscore student, an empty list. So this is the empty list. I put a caveat for you. Now here we are saying in this empty list, I'm appending first Robert, Shamble, Python. So I added 4 items. So list, so in append, I added 1 Robert, Shamble, I appended. Then I appended another item. So this list has 2 items. Now I say open and I specify the file name student1 CSV. W means write, new line means don't press enter. SSF means you're reading student file. Now here we are using CSV. This is beautiful. CSV writer, we say this SF we have to pass it. And then you're saying W, write rows, right? Rows. Rows means write more than one row. And you're saying list. So you have a 2 item. We are saying write 2 item as a comma set. Let's understand. A little bit harder, but this is very beautiful utility. Understand, guys. Understand. This is beautiful. So first of all, what we are having, we are adding a 4 item. And this item will be added as a 0 index. So if I do the math, like the list 0 index, this item will be added. And this one will be added in the first index. Now what we are saying that take these items and write to the file as a comma separate. So we are saying 1 Robert, comma Shambar, comma Python. Now you notice that there is no comma anywhere. We are going to do that. And how we do that? We do through CSV utility. So if we take this file as SF and put it into CSV writer, then if I say write rows list, then it will create a file, CSV file. Okay, so if I add 3 lines, it will do 3. If I do 4 lines, it will do 4. And any line which I need, I can put it. So why don't you copy that? Let's do one by one. So let's copy this first. Control C. Go to file and create a new program. Create a new program. So let's create a new program. And here, please try to understand. These are lists. I'm going to add more, so you will see that. Right now, let's remove this part. Let's remove this part. Just focus on write. That's one more. We're opening the file in a write mode. We are saying this will be as SF. That's the student file, which we are passing to CSV writer and say handler, now give me write handler. So they give me handler. Now handler, write rows, that's the method, and I'm passing list. So we are saying, hey, write rows, which is this rows. Write rows into file, this file. But this time you are using CSV writer, so each line will be separated as a comma. So let's see what happens. Let's run the program. And here, when you ask, just say file 4. So file 4.py. And if I run, no error. Program will run, no error. Program will run, no error. But if you notice that I give a path, data, and it will be st1 CSV. CSV means comma separated file. So now if I go to my data folder, there should be a file called st1 CSV. And if I right click here and open with notepad, you'll see the comma separated file. Beautiful, just beautiful, right? Because you can see how easily we are able to write that file. So whatever we have in a list, we are writing that item into file by using this. We are opening the file, whatever the writer you have, you're passing into the writer, and then you are writing to the file. Now, can I write more file content? If I want to write this, I can copy this. I can copy that. Let's say I have multiple paths, and this is 3. So this is 3, this is 4, and this is 5, right? And let's say this is path 5. And if I run the program, just like that, it will write the program into multiple lines. And nicely, the file will be written. And you can see now, if I open with this notepad, I can see bunch of files. This kind of utility will be greatly helpful for your project work, especially data analysis, because you will have a list and you want to do some kind of filter. Show me all transactions for Chicago. Show me all transactions for Chambal. You can do it quickly because these are data. Most of your data comes in a comma separated file. So here your comma separated data you're writing into file. Question: this file can be opened in Excel quickly. This file you can generate report nicely. If I have this type of file, I can generate a graph also quickly. So that's why CSV is very popular. Questions?
What is the with keyword?
What is the with?
With, open, the with.
Oh, with automatically close the file. That's it. Okay. So right now I am opening, but I'm not closing it. It will automatically close the file. So it's kind of shortcut. So if I can write to the file Can I read from file? And that is what our exercise here. So this one, if you copy this section, it will read the file which you written on the disk. So your file is standard like student one. So you are reading that and you're printing. If I run this program, it is print. Now I have a question for you. First, any questions so far before I ask you a question? Any questions so far before I ask you a question? Hello, any question? No question? Perfect. Now, I have a question for you guys. Please understand. This is your homework, so I'm going to give you some hint. Guys. I want to give you some hint here. Please understand. What if I want to write only Elgin data to the file? How should I write? I want to write only Elgin data to file. How should I write?
So most likely, you're gonna use the index, which is index 1. So
Fine.
you'll be
You'll
be appending. So most likely you're gonna do L student between parentheses, something like 0, 1, 2.
So I think you are really thinking correctly. So thank you. That is what
Can we do?
Can
we do if L student in L student?
Yeah, so there are many ways you can do, but if you remember, we talk about list. List is super powerful in Python. If you do not know list, you cannot work in data analysis mode. So please get master in list, because without list, technically data analysis will be difficult for you. So there are a lot of methods you will list. So here, see here. If I want to pick append, I can do append. If I want to do index, a particular index, I can do pop, I can do pop. There are so many things like append, list, and all. And if you scroll up a little bit, I have more example for list. So you can see here, I have a lot of example for list also. So list is one of the list upper and all, but these are list related, lot of activity, right? So how do we get the list related things going? There are many ways you can do. So depending on your needs, you need to think about how do I operate the list properly. So first of all, this is all list. You see this list. So you can get the list differently. You can pick list, 1 item, 2 item, or like list index, list pop, list index, like that, right? So here, if I want to get only 1 item, like example, engine, so this is 0 index, this is 1 index. So if I put like this, just an example, if I put 1, just an example, if I put 1, right, and if I run, in that case, I'm only writing 1 line. Am I right? It will print only 1 line. So you can see here, iterable expected right row or rows. I need to do right row because it's expecting more than 1 item. Does they have rows or they have row only? Yeah, they have row also, right? So if I do row, then it will be 1 line. Make sense? So in that case, it will be 1 line. So I end it. And then if I want to end it, this is also, again, I'm adding 1 only, but let's say if I want to add another one, I can cherry pick manually. So this is Elgin 1, and this is 3. So now here I can do 2. It's 1 down, so 2. So if I run this thing now, I'm going to have 2 Elgin. This is Detroit. 1 second. 0, 1, 2, 3. Supposed to be 3. So if I run that, I can get. But is there a better way to do? Because here I'm cherry picking. Is there a better way to do? So what would be the other way to do? So first of all, when I'm writing the file, right, I can do loop. Do you guys agree? So if I do loop, please understand. If I say for let's say line, just an example, line in list. So this is my list, yes or no? And then I say column. And I'm going to print lines just to see what I'm getting. So I can write a program accordingly. No problem. So first print one. And then I can filter according to element, right? So if I run the program, this is for your homework. So I'm just giving you a hint here. So I can print everything. Do you guys agree? I can print everything. Now if I say, is there anywhere I can search in Elgin? So Elgin is there. So I can say Elgin in, right? In line. If engine is line, if it gives me true, then in bingo, then I can write if statement. So let's see here. If it gives me true, which is giving true, oh wow, then bingo. Bingo. Why? Because then I don't have to write this way, right? Then I can write simple, take this item, right? Take this item, and I only want to write when it is true. Yes or no? So here I'll say if Elgin inline, in that case I want to write, otherwise I don't want to write. So if Elgin in, then I'll write this line to the file. Do you agree? Now what will happen? Check it out. It will write that, and I don't have to check. Alignment is everything. Now check it out. Woo. So I'm going to put it in a chat. Now, can you do one thing? Such kind of things, I remove it, right? But if I want to read time, only print Elgin. You can do the same thing, right? So there's kind of things in your homework. So how to print only particular thing during read time. So this is where very powerful list is very important. That here I'm checking if take the line, first line from the list, if Elgin is in that file, then right. So if you see carefully, I'll show you your homework so you can understand why I'm focusing here more, because homework is interesting. And again, I always tell people it's interesting. You need to take interest. It's not a punishment. So this is your homework. See here. Understand? You get a light bulb. First, you are reading the file. So you have data. So this is your data. So your employee text has 3 data files. So you have to create a data file. You say, how do I create data file? Very simple. Go to Notepad, open a Notepad. Hello, open a Notepad, and write these 3 lines. And save this file into C column data with this name, employees.txt. So you save that employee.txt. Okay. Now here you need to change C column // data // employee.txt. So you read it. Now you're reading. Now you're going to split. So here you need to write somewhere if statement. And that's what most of the exercise is about. So you got and read it. It's not going to take a long time, but make sure you read this file with Notepad, save this file as a txt. You have 3 lines. Then you read that file. And then when you loop it, after you loop, you follow these answers. It's going to be fun. You may have fun. Okay. But it's a similar concept as I explained. Any questions, sir? See, many of you are writing the problem in the Python forum. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Where it says homework for day 5, that's just instructions for what's up in the white space.
Yeah, this is your date. This is the problem. You're solving the problem.
Okay.
Right? So here is the data file. You have to write this program first. You write the program and then you improvise in the program and you follow the step. If you have a problem, you can always remember, learning happens with many ways. Start using forum, start using WhatsApp group, start doing Googling, ChatGPT, everything you should use. But you should not, I cannot do it. Because then you are not building muscle of figure it out. Sounds good?